Tides are cyclical fluctuations in sea levels caused by gravitational pull from the sun and the moon. Tides vary in degrees along different ocean floors, and tidal action is persistent energy agent for geomorphic change. As tides change, for example, rising or falling, the migration of the shoreline, both landward and seaward, change, affecting sediment erosion and transportation.
How are tides caused? Tides are produced by both the sun and moon's gravitational pull, but the sun's influence is less than the moon's because the sun is farther in distance from Earth. The sun and moon cause a gravitational pull on Earth's atmosphere, oceans, and lithosphere, causing it to experience stretching. As Earth stretches, it advances large tidal bulges in its atmosphere and in the ocean, as well as some small bulges in the crust.
Gravity and inertia are two important terms when speaking about tides. Gravity is the force of attraction between two bodies, and inertia is the tendency of objects to stay still if motionless, or the ability to keep moving if there is motion occurring. The ocean exhibits a much greater tide range around the time of the full moon and the new moon. This is when the moon and sun are either together in the sky or are on opposite sides of the heavens. Higher tides occur during these moon phases because the sun also exerts a gravitational pull on the oceans. When the gravitational effects of the sun and the moon combine, we get spring tides, even though it has nothing to do with the season of spring. The term refers to the action of the seas springing out and then springing back. These are times of high tides and low tides. A week later, during either of the two quarter moon phases, when the sun and the moon are at the right angles to each other and their tidal influences partially cancel each other out, neap tides occur, and the tidal range is minimal. The tide rises, the water moves towards land, and it is then known as the flood tide. When it drops and moves back to sea, it is called the ebb tide. The slack tide is the period when the tide moves neither way. It takes about 6 hours for the tide to go from low to high, and about 6 hours from high to low. Every 24 hours, the tides occur approximately 50 minutes later.
Tides are important to daily activities that humans perform, such as fishing, surfing, and many more. Fish's activities are determined by the tides. The tides tell the fish when to be on the move for food and when to rest. Because fish don't have eyelids, they cannot close their eyes to rest. When the tide begins to ebb, the current forces bait fish into deeper water, concentrating them into smaller areas and making them easy prey for larger predator fish. The ebb tide thus triggers the predator's feeding instinct. Flood tides also trigger the feeding instinct, and predator fish lie in wait for bait fish to flow into the mouths of inlets, bays, harbors, or along the surf. Fishing action subsides during slack tides because bait fish disperse themselves, seeking shelter from predators.